We cousins, so we cousins. So it's like, we Niner fans, we cousins, we're both men.
Mm.
Um, so
Mm.
like the draft was an interesting process for us too,
Mm.
and all that type of stuff. So like, what was your perspective on our interaction during the draft?
Yeah, I mean, I would get kind of frustrated with our discussions, and we would get heated. I mean, you preface with us being cousins, I think for that reason. We would have heated conversations, but again, like for me,
We
and
cousins, but we really like brothers.
yeah, we brothers, right. So like we have heated conversations, but like again, like heated conversations isn't that big of a deal for me. That's just how we talk sometimes and stuff like that. It's not like, on the outside looking in, people could see us talking and be like, "You guys really about to come to blows over who the Niners are drafting? Like, what are y'all doing?"
We ain't never had them type.
Yeah, no. But I mean, I think people could perceive it that way based on some of our conversations. My main frustration was, okay, so again, Zach Wilson's pro day trade happens. I FaceTime you, like we did it. I'm super juice. I instantly send you, I think it was that day, maybe it was the day after. I instantly send you like all the throws of all the throws of Zach Wilson's career, of Mac Jones' career, of Justin Fields, like, all these different people and stuff. Trey Lance. I think I sent you like all of them. Like, okay, this is who you need to look at. This is because I had already done. Let me also put this in there. I had already looked at a lot of the prospects, a lot of the breakdowns, I should say, of these prospects, of the quarterback specifically, because I'm just a fan of the NFL and I'm a fan of the draft. So I already wanted to like see like, oh, where are these guys going? Like, who's going to get them? Like, I already was looking at film from these guys, so I already had a good sense of kind of where I was at. I didn't dive in like all the way, but I still had a good sense, like initial thoughts of like what I thought about all the quarterbacks. And so for me, I wanted Justin Fields, was cool with Zach Wilson, definitely saw the potential in Trey Lance, but also felt like he was too raw and shouldn't be considered because one of those guys is going to be on the board. And so that's kind of that was my mindset. And then I like I mentioned about Mac Jones, like, I mean, like, I just don't feel like he's that high ceiling guy, but I could see why they would want to do that. But like for number 3 is a little too steep. So anyways, that was my thought process. But then like, I think it was the pro day was on Friday. I think Friday you were like, nah, it's gotta be Zach Wilson. Everybody else, like unequivocally, Zach Wilson or bust. The next day, it was like, okay, I see what you're saying about Justin Fields. Or no, this day was like, Mac Jones is actually kind of raw. I ain't gonna lie. Like, like I'm looking at these highlights, like, hey, he kind of like. And then the next day, it was like, nah, Justin Fields. And basically, down the road of the process, it was like, nah, Fields or bust. Lance isn't even considered, like, Fields or bust. Period. Like, nobody else could even be considered. And so, again, back to like the interactions, it was frustrating for me with some of the conversations, because I was like, number one, you've kind of gone through, this guy's the best, nobody else should be considered. This guy's the best, nobody else should be. Okay, I really looked at it now, and this guy's the best. And it's like, to me, that was just showing that happens with all of us with the draft to a certain extent, but that's why we can't be unequivocal and like so definitive, because it's like, you really got to look at it, kind of sit yourself on it, and just let yourself open for looking at something differently, or just having a different perspective on things. And this, honestly, this conversation I already know is going to transcend sports and transcends just the Niners, but like, that's kind of like, it's good to have balance. It's good to like not always be so adamant about something, especially when it's not something in your control. Because that was one of my big things with our conversations, is like, even if you feel how you feel that Justin Fields is the best quarterback and we're definitely going to pick him, and the only way we don't pick him is if the Jets get him, and in that case, we're probably going to get Zach Wilson because, Trey Lance is too raw and Mac Jones is too low of a ceiling to be considered. Even if that's how you feel, you don't really know how Shanahan feels. You don't know how John Lynch feels. You don't know how another man thinks. Even though we follow the team, we have sound bites from this game and sound bites from this presser. We don't know what's going on in their minds. And so that's why I always take, with the draft process, a little bit of a step back and say, like, this is what I think. This is what I think we will do. But I don't fully know, because anything could happen. It's the draft. The Browns might just draft Baker Mayfield when nobody thought that was going to happen. This team might get this. There's things like that happen in the past with the draft. And it's a show. It's a TV show. All the rumors, all the reports, all the, people with sources, like whether it be from the main guys like Adam Schefter saying things, or whether it be like just going in the locker room and having various Niners folk be like, oh, I have sources that say this, or I have sources that say that. Like, you don't ever really fully know. It's all pieces of the puzzle that you get, and it's a fun process, and I love being in it. But you can't you can't really ever be super adamant. And that's kind of what happened in the situation, to the tune of you putting on a lot of money on Justin Fields, which I tried to, prevent you from putting too much on, because you were talking about going to Vegas the night of the draft, like on a whim, all these sort of things. I'm like, man, like, slow down, because you as confident as you are, you never know. So that's kind of where I was at. What's your thoughts on that, man?
Yeah, no, I mean, like you said, it was definitely a learning experience. It was a learning experience for us, and like, like we're cousins, and so when I say we're cousins, it's like, like obviously I have your best interest in my heart, and you have you have my best interest in your heart. But if we saying things, like sometimes maybe I could say something that might offend you, and I'm not even trying to offend you, or vice versa. So like, all right, so we get into the draft process, right? And then so, and I'm like, like you said, I'm like Zach Wilson. Hold on, Mac Jones. Hold on, Fields. And then you said something like you be flip floppy. That might have triggered me, bro. That might have triggered me to be like flip floppy. All right, so I'm about to be the most unflip floppy motherfucker out there right now, and I'm about to really. And it's like you probably wasn't even like
saying nothing, right?
Or you wasn't probably intending it, but for
Right.
me it was like, what, like I'm a flip floppy person. Like hell no, I ain't no flip floppy person. Like what, like hell no, like.
Right.
But like I'm saying, and then maybe I would like send you stuff like look, I'm telling you, I'm watching this. You probably looking at that like I'm saying when I'm telling you, like I'm telling you about Justin Fields, and you probably like, what, bro? I already know about Justin Fields.
Right.
But in my mind, I'm not really trying to tell you like you don't know.
Right.
I'm just telling you that I've been hella watching it. But so just how people communicate and how things could trigger, close people. Like I said, close, like we're like brothers, like real brothers. And so it's like little things I could say, or little things you could say could like offend a person with a pride or whatever. And then like I said, like it made me be like, I mean, but I really felt that way about Fields. And then I was like, nope, Fields are bust. It just, and then put the money down, and I was ready to go to Vegas. I was ready to like,
Would you say,
go ahead.
I was gonna say, would you say like during that time when you were getting adamant and we were getting closer to the draft, let's say like 2 weeks out and stuff, like 2 weeks out and in, would you say that like, because I think like it was maybe a week and a half out, like maybe 10 days before the draft, where I was like, I feel like it's gonna be Trey Lance. Like, I feel like we went back. I don't know what film breakdowns we were particularly had in question, but I think I had sent you some like another breakdown. I think like Kurt Warner's breakdowns were just coming out, and he wasn't high on Trey Lance or Justin Fields. But basically, I wanted to ask you, like, at that point, do you feel like you have had fully kind of vetted, maybe not fully, because obviously now that we actually have Trey Lance, I feel like there's another level of like going through interviews and stuff like that. But
bro, there was a period in time. Remember, like there was a period in like I don't know, for like about like maybe 2 weeks out before the draft where I was really like, I like Trey Lance. I don't even know if I really wasn't sure who I wanted between Trey Lance and Fields at one point. After I was watching, like I was talking about the quick release. I was like, oh, you got a quick release and whoop. But then like it just swung back to Fields, and then it was just hard, like it was strong Fields. But I had a because at first it was like Trey Lance, like hell no, like that's like a bust in the making. And then it was like, no, actually like watching it, like really watching all the games and like being like, okay, quick release, like okay. And then you sent me that video that Crocker did about him being pro ready, and after that I was like, you know what?
Shout out to Crocker, man.
Yeah, I was like, you know what? Like I think like I like the idea of Trey Lance. But then for some reason, like, I don't know, a few days later, I just kept watching that Clemson game. And I was just like, man, this dude is special. And now I would watch like Russell Wilson film, and And like I was just, just comparing it. What's that thing you said? Like when it's a red car, when you think all the cars
Yeah,
are
it's like
red.
I think it's called the Illuminati theory of five, where it's like when you have something in your mind, all you see is that. So like if you buy a blue car, for example, all you're gonna see is blue cars like on the freeway and stuff like
Like if you
around
think
you.
if you think that the majority of cars are blue,
Right.
then like
You'll just start seeing a bunch of blue
have a
cars and
blue
stuff.
car. So
Right.
I started watching film of I started really loving Fields, and then I started watching film of like Russell Wilson and Mahomes, and being like, this dude is like that. Like, this dude is like that, and that really kind of just, made me go that route. And like I said, I hit up man, I was ready to the day. Shout out to Bovada, because Bovada will not allow you to put more than $1,000 on that pick.
Right.
And I was like, fine, fuck you, it's cool. Like, all right. But then the day before, like, I don't know, the emotions even got more. And bro, I ain't never betted on sports in my life. Like,
Yeah, yeah, that's a good caveat to put in because like I do sports betting. I don't do a lot. Typically, I win a whole bunch of my account and then I'll just bet what's already in my account. So I don't really bet that much. But I do make small little $5 parlays like all the time, like nothing crazy. But I
yeah,
definitely wanted to preface to anybody watching. Definitely sports betting is real. Always, like have
yeah, nah. But
don't go all in. All those sort
but
of things.
the mindset for me was like, I
Put your
really,
money where your mouth is.
yeah, and I felt like I felt, obviously I'm glad it didn't happen, but I felt like this is an opportunity to really to make a lot of money. Like that's how I felt, and I know that like, and I felt like I knew. I feel like I had the new, but I felt like I studied. I felt like I knew. I felt like it was, and it's time to make a play. It's time to make a play. And I was like, the day before the draft, it just hit me, and it was just like, I listened to a John Lynch interview with Kiana the day before.
Talking about toughness and things like that.
He said, they said, what are you looking for in a quarterback, John? He said, something like, they have to have a great ability to deal with adversity and to be mentally tough. And when he said that, like I was just, I've been binge watching the Clemson game,
Yeah.
binge watching the Michigan game the year previous when he went out there and looked like he tore his ACL. I'm talking about Justin Fields.
And made the touchdown throw, the play after he came in. Yep.
Right after. And so to me, that was like, to me, it was like, because then I remember I was watching the Jets interview, and they were talking about like, what do you look for in a quarterback? And how he was describing what he wanted in his quarterback was somebody who was really intelligent and really like, I don't know, just the way he described it, it was like, okay, how I thought about it, like you're describing Zach Wilson. You're not, but once you say the word tough, John Lynch says the word tough and adversity. To me, that was like, that's Fields. That's who he is. Deal with adversity, mentally tough. The guy, a leader. That's who I thought it was. I was ready to book a flight to Vegas. We was looking for flights because I was ready to like. I'm like, bro, I'm ready to make $100,000. That's what I felt like. I'm ready to make $100,000.
And in talking with you, like I basically just hopped on the train. From me, I remember I was in the car, I was about to do a shoot, and it was like maybe the night before the draft or the 2 nights before. And I remember I FaceTime you, and I was like, man, I'm with you. I'm just gonna jump on the train. I didn't think it was gonna be Justin Fields, but I kind of forced myself to think it was gonna, because I was like, it's just more fun, you know what I'm saying, to like be on the same page as you and like be in the, together instead of being like, you know what I mean? Like I didn't want to be that person to be like,
bad influence.
yeah, I didn't want to be that person to be like, So I remember there was a few times, whether it was draft day or the day before, whatever, where you were just like, oh man, you feeling scared right now? You feeling like you were just kind of like, poking at me there. They're like, bro, it's gonna be Fields. Like, what you think it's gonna be somebody else? I'm just like,
see, and that's what I'm
know,
talking
man.
about though.
Like,
I wasn't trying to do that. Like I
right,
wasn't trying to do that. I wasn't trying to poke at you.
right,
I really wasn't. I really like, and like I said,
right,
but maybe the way I come off at times might
right.
make you feel that way.
That's
like,
yeah.
And
Even
like you might say
yeah,
something like little stuff and be like,
right,
oh,
yeah,
you're the worst. You're the worst. I'll
right,
be like, what? You think I'm the worst?
right.
Like you think I'm the worst?
Right.
Like, just like shit like that, where it's like I
Yeah.
said, like that's why I really want to get on this podcast. So,
Yeah.
just I just feel like, because at the end of the day, like I said, like you my cousin. I love you. Like
Right.
this. I know this is other stuff, but that's really in my heart. You
Right.
feel me? And it's like, but when people, get to, like, if I'm talking about something that I'm passionate about, I might not realize how it's gonna come across. You feel me? Like, and I don't, you know what I'm saying? Like, I just really, and like, I might not realize.
Well,
Look,
it's like you know, how to win friends and influence people. If you really want to get somewhere in something, you always have to have the other person's mindset in mind, because people always think about themselves. They're only thinking from their perspectives
right,
always. And it's like, I think that's a really good point, because like just what I said earlier about like poking at me, it's like, yeah, that wasn't your intention to do that at all, but that's how I perceived it. So it's like, you know, we're all in our heads to a certain extent and making assumptions. You know, Five Agreements, another book. We're just giving out books right now, man, giving out gems. Another book where it's like, yeah, you don't want to make assumptions, because, you know, just there's never any positive that comes out of that. You never really know. It's always good to clarify, man, because clarity leads to happiness, man. Clarity and communication just leads to just happiness, man. So but I think it's interesting, man, because yeah, the draft process gets heated, especially when this is such a big decision on a
I mean, this was
team. That
different than any other one
this
by
is
far.
different than any other one by far, because of the trade, because of the quarterback, because of the where we're at as a team. This is huge, man. And so we had so much on the line as faithful in general. I know there's a lot of arguments people had, whether it was with their family or just, you know, Niners Twitter, or like, you know, it was very polarizing, man. It was very polarizing. A lot of people got unfollowed during this process, man. A lot of people got blocked. A lot of people lost bets. I mean, I know you lost some money, but hey, you got some money from Matt Miller. So there's at least that.
Yeah, bro, it could have been way worse. Like, I lost $500. Like, I mean, like, it could have been, it could have been way worse. So
you could have been way worse. So thank God, you know what I'm saying? And be careful with them bets. But yeah, like there's so much going on for all of us faithful during this process, because it meant that much, man. And like for people who don't understand sports and you know, everything like that, like looking on the outside in, it's like, why are they so into this freaking draft, this job interview where people are gonna get hired by some like what is the big deal? Like, nah, this is huge.